Everybody, I am Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how you can create a really gorgeous sunset scene with trees. The techniques are simpler than you might think. They're actually really fun. I'm going to break them down and make them really accessible. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He helps me bring you these art lessons by making sure that whatever thing I'm talking about or technique that I'm demonstrating or tool that I'm using, you guys can see it at home, because what you see, you can probably do. I am so excited to do this one with you guys today because we're back on a 16 by 20 canvas, and I always like it when we get bigger on a bigger canvas. I had to take a couple of days to rest my shoulder, but I'm feeling pretty good today, so I thought, why not do a 16 by 20? Now, if you're really new to painting and you're wanting to paint along today, there's a couple things that you can do to make that a lot easier. One, say hi to everybody in the live chat. Say hi so everybody knows that you're there. And if you need help, ask a question. Ask a question and put it in all caps. I have moderators both on Facebook and on YouTube. So you put the questions in all caps, and you might even get them answered live on the show. I'd like to say that the winner from last week's giveaway is Jenna. And Jenna, I'm going to be commenting on your comment that won, and also making sure that you get to see that. So I'll make sure that you're notified if you're wondering. And we are doing another giveaway today. 2 enamel pins. Well, actually, it's 2 sets of 2 enamel pins, one on YouTube, one on Facebook. To enter, if you're on Facebook, you need to leave a comment with the hashtag #TheArtSherpa.
You didn't tell me that. Oh, it's so many pins.
You said pins today,
I
not
know.
prints. You said
But
pins today, not
I
prints.
mean, but
He said pins today, not prints. I said, do you want to do prints
good.
or do you want to do pins? And he said, let's do pins. You guys let me know in the comments if you want pins or prints. And then hashtag #TheArtSherpa on Facebook. You can do it anytime, even during the live show. YouTube, you have to wait. What are you doing? You're so weird. A pin. You can win a pin. So YouTube, you have to wait until the live stream is ended and put it in the comments section. Moderators, if you have questions about how to enter, the moderators kind of know how it works, and they can tell you. There are terms and restrictions that apply, and it's just a little thing we can do to say thank you. Let us know if you want to do prints or pins. So things that we can do to make it a little more fun. Be sure, Facebook, comment anytime, hashtag #TheArtSherpa, YouTube after the show, because the live stream doesn't show up in the live comment picker. Everybody kind of excited? Congratulations to Jenna. Winning from last week, and I'll make sure, Jenna, I will comment on your comment on the scarecrow so you'll know it's you, because I know Jenna's a common name. And that's all her name was on YouTube, so that's what I pulled up. It didn't give me anything more specific. But she comments on everything, so I know we can totally find her. We saved all that information.
Yes.
Seems sketchy, right? Are you guys ready to paint something?
I'm ready.
You want to learn how to paint today?
No, we're doing steps, right?
We are doing steps. We're on a 16 by 20. It is going to be fun. We even have a wish.
Wish.
Wishes!
What's the wish?
Today's wish is very simple. A wish for pure justice and actual truth.
That's good.
Those things, could we use a little more of them? We all have a different idea what they are, but I don't care what I think it is. I care that it is, and I want whatever it actually is to happen. So truth, boom, I want that, and justice, boom, I want that.
This feels very Wonder Woman to me. She's
Okay,
got that lasso of truth. Yeah, see,
Sorry.
No, I'm with you there. I'm just.
Oh my gosh, when you hear that song and Gabby gets out there and she's like, and you're with your daughters going, yeah, run across that crazy field of no man's land, girl. Amazons. Okay, so Amazons aside, I'm going to do a thing. I'm going to go over the colors a little bit. We have more colors than what's out here, but we're going to start with a little bit of cad red, cad yellow, phthalo blue, and titanium white. If you'd like a complete list of the colors, you can go by the website, check the event, or look in the description below. All the materials are always there. So in the titanium white, I did mix in a little gloss glazing liquid. This is a slow drying extender for acrylic colors. It just means it'll not dry on me so quickly so I can get a better blend here. And I'm going to be doing a new method to go from an orange, like kind of like that yellow orange, to blue sky, so we don't have such a... We're going to have a little green, guys.
Yeah.
But not such a green band, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little of my red, a smidge of scotch, and I'm going to bring it over to my yellow, and I'm going to take an artist knife and mix it in. If you don't have an artist knife, you can do this with loyalty cards that you've used up. They work.
I can imagine.
So I've got that here. That's not bad, right? A little bit of just slightly warmed cad red medium. So there's cad red medium, cad yellow medium, phthalo blue, titanium white, a little cad red into that cad yellow to just warm it a touch. Now I'm going to scrape out and wipe off my artist knife, right? Get all the paint off of it. And then I'm going to take just a smidge, but more of a bead now over to the phthalo blue, because I want to just lighten the phthalo blue a bit. Not a lot, but a bit. So it's just a little lighter. Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm. I can probably see if I can do it without breaking.
It's going to be the best blend you've ever done on a sky.
Yeah.
Now, there is this point between the two, right? That is a good bit of the yellow, smidge of the blue, and a lot of what is the white.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to see if we can get that here. And we're going to use this to bridge between those two colors.
Okay.
Okay.
Like I will be objectionable.
Huh?
As if I would object.
Well, what we're trying to do is create, I'm going to put a little more yellow into it. We're trying to create a very light bridge so that sometimes I will mix white between the two bands. I've been known to do that as well. Just looking at my thing. And so what this is going to do, that bridge will help us control what happens in this middle transition, because that's what you're trying to do. In oil, you have a lot of time to make beautiful soft transitions from one color to another, because it's not going to dry like for a really long time. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of time to think about it. In acrylic, what gets people is it dries really fast, and they start to think, well, acrylic is harder than oils. It's not harder than oils. It's just a little different. And once you make an adjustment, you'll be able to get it in no time. Things like slow drying agents, pre-wetting the canvas, right brushes, those can all help, right? We're going to pull out a towel so we can dry off our big brushes. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to pick one of my favorite big ones.
Yeah.
Right? This is a nice 2-inch cutter. It's got hog bristles in it that are best dressed and interlocked. Chunking babies, which just means it doesn't go when I get there. I'm going to go ahead and maybe kind of take those words and blend them down. And I might even just sort of pre-wet lightly the canvas. That's to combat the current dry conditions I'm having in my studio.
Right.
Because believe it or not, I can get really dry conditions in my studio. I'm also going to grab a little bit of this pure white. Kind of load it onto my brush here. And I'm going to start kind of putting that out a little bit on the canvas. I don't want it to dry. I want it to be kind of, help me kind of blend this yellow up into the blue.
Your protector down.
Mm.
The protector.
Yeah.
You gotta get that.
Let's put the protector down.
Pull the protector down. Okay.
Save! Keep the collection safe.
Yeah. I was like, oh my.
You guys need to remind me of that earlier.
It was me. I was looking and I was like, are you splattering?
I was. I splattered a painting. I'm going to have to restore it after the show. So I have kind of a little layer of floating white, right? And this is going to help me keep my yellow from getting too overwhelming. So I'm going to grab a little of my yellow and some of my water. When I say some, man, I'm telling you what, I barely touched this brush into the water. Mm-hmm. I'm super careful.
Oh, wait.
What?
Did we put up a step 1 yet? You are such a go-getter.
I'm such a go-getter. I haven't been on the 16 by 20s in a minute.
It's been a while. Can I
get
a step? So can I step?
Bear with me.
I'm going to step everybody.
At least it's an easy painting today.
So we got a step.
Steps.
There
we go. We're stepped.
We're back into the step. All right.
So we're going to take this and just very lightly come across here.
Someone has been loving you.
What is that?
That's a stars from someone.
That's a stars? Where did the notification come from?
It went beep, beep.
It like blew me off so much I put some blue in my yellow and I have to rinse out my brush now.
I think one of your devices is not quiet.
I don't know where it is though.
Well, I don't know. I'll look around. So what'll happen to me is this will be a star hunt. As we hear the star falls, we'll have to like, where did it go?
I guess you get to dig in the studio. All right. So we've got a nice little bit of yellow here. And we're going to take it to the midway point, guys.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to wipe my brush off with a towel. I'm going to grab a little white because I can. Make sure that there's a nice little bridge here. It's got to be. You know what I think it is?
You know what?
My iPad.
Now it's a game. No, you're gonna have to. You can't. You can't quiet
Could be
him
my
down.
phone. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to come in and get a little of that mid-tone that we pre-mixed, right? Because we're controlling what's happening here, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going back and forth. That's good. We've got a little bit of control, so it's not so overwhelming. Pull that little hair
Thank you
out.
to all the star senders out there. We
Thank
really
you for the stars.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
I particularly love that you guys play the games whenever you see the opportunity.
You're like, oh, it's a star game.
I think it may be a Gen X thing where they're like, wait, what? There's a game happening? What's the rules?
And there are no rules. Great
All right,
game.
I'm in.
And now I'm going to take my blue, and I'm going to bring a nice coat of blue up from the top, right? I want this to really cover my canvas. My iPad is going to get so splattered.
Yep. That's why I put up the shield.
Yeah, that's why we put up the shield. And I'm going to come down into my little green thing that I had for the transition. Remember where I was trying to control what happened between the blue and the yellow?
Mm-hmm.
Difficult to control. We struggled with it through Acrylic April. We may struggle with it now. Rinse out your brushes and make sure that after every session that you take the time to clean them, because that will make them last a lot longer.
There's a
Now,
good question.
I'm going to take a soft clean. I have to move quickly, baby.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. I'll ask later.
You get me later.
Okay.
I'm going to take a, this is a nice soft royal link. I'm going to take a soft dry brush, and I'm going to come here. And while this is still a little bit wet, I'm going to try to softly blend the transition. Okay. It's
okay.
this.
We'll figure it out.
It's not my iPad. I turned my iPad off.
Okay. I don't know what this is, but we'll figure it
And
out
it's
in a minute.
beeping from over here.
Okay.
I'm adding a little bit of water because I didn't go quite quickly enough. I'm going to use this. This is a 1-inch oval mop, and it's got a synthetic filament in it.
What's funny is she can't stop.
I cannot stop and deal with it, and I know I've turned everything
I'm
off.
just giggling away over here because I know. Keep going. Keep teaching.
I
Do your
am.
thing.
I'm just getting my brush wet.
Okay,
Don.
get your brush back. I'm going to heckle you as much as I
Don't
can.
heckle me. Never heckle the artist. I'm going to come in with my nice yellow and white again.
I keep you on your toes.
My toes are on enough.
The
And I
toe of the
may
brush.
even sit back and just very lightly mist this with a micro mister so that I don't have any problems.
Do you sand your canvas?
Do I sand my canvas? No. I do if I do portraiture, but I don't worry about it for just acrylic landscape painting. It's not my preference. It is many artists' preference, and I wouldn't say it's right or wrong to do. I would just say you've got to go with your preference.
Now you're keeping that brush pretty dry over
It
there,
is.
huh?
It's from somewhere over here.
That's all right. I had to find it as soon as you're done. We get to the next step.
I'm going to get another dry brush. The trick is you want a dry, clean brush.
I was going to say, you keep drying your brush over there.
Yeah.
That's another dry, clean brush.
That's another dry, clean brush.
And it picks up some of that paint a little bit.
It does. And what it
spreads
does
around.
is while it's still wet, it helps create that little transitional space that we're looking for. I'll put these aside and clean them after. I'll clean them after. Now I'm going to stand back and I'm going to give that a look.
Yeah.
And at this stage, I can adjust pretty easily, right? I can take a smaller little hog brush. It's this.
We'll figure it out.
You keep saying we'll figure it out. I figured it out, babe.
But I know.
I figured it out. I know exactly what it is.
But I can't come over there and do anything about
I
it.
know that. I'm just saying I know what it is. We're not figuring it out. We've determined it. I have pointed out the culprit.
Okay. So
I'm just coming in and sort of with my big brush.
The big brush.
Yeah. Now, if you only have one brush, and that happens to a lot of people. That happens to a lot of people where you only have one brush. You can dry it with a towel and even hair dry it between the uses. And I've had to do that before. I mean, I actually had my studio. I lost everything in my studio once. So I've had to do some of the... So this is the hard part. Hardest part of this whole thing is going from yellow to blue. The trick is having a couple brushes put to the side that are dry, controlling the moisture in your brush, pre-mixing a middle color between the top of your sky and the bottom of your sky, having a lot of white accessible so you can do blends, and being able to work quicker than the paint is going to dry. If you find you're needing more time in your paint, you can add a humidifier to your studio. You can get a mister. You can buy a product called Golden Open Acrylic, which is dry really, really slowly. Or you can get the Golden Liquid Glazing Gloss and add it to your paint. All those things can help.
Okay.
And you can do 2 coats. You can do the sky in 2 tries. We used to do the sky in 2 tries on the channel all the time. We're just now a 1-try channel.
Is this, We're
at a step you got to take a picture, and I need fresh water.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll come over
All
here.
those things are true, and I have too many brushes over to the side to be washed later.
You're going to have to talk to them so I can come over.
I'm going to talk to you while this is happening because he's got to turn off this dinger at me. I feel like I'm getting in trouble, like it's saying, you're out of time. You have to go faster.
I think it's them sending you love.
Is that what it is? Yeah. You guys are being so loving. Thank you.
TV.
Yeah, it's the TV. That's what I told you. I know who the culprit is. I found it.
I know how to fix that.
Oh, good. John knows how to fix everything. That's why we call him stunt hands. Now, for the next part, you do want this surface to be really, really dry because that's how we're going to get the trunks and trees up there. I will provide a traceable after the live show because this is really technique-based, and I won't really definitely and absolutely know where the trees are going to be until I'm all done. Let me see if there's any questions other than where's the dinging coming from? 30 minutes in the show and we're still in the background. Let's not show you my codes, right?
You were asking about liquid white.
Okay, liquid white is a really cool product that's used in oil painting. You can make something similar using golden open white. I'm just looking. I have some cool questions over here that the mods let me know about. Live show questions. Choo, choo, choo. I'm catching up. All right. Make sure I'm in the right show. All right. What size glass palette do you use? I like their largest one. I think this is the 12 by 16 by New Wave, and they are a really good tempered glass palette. They're really well made. Does the slow dry medium make an equivalent of liquid white? It's real similar. It's not an equivalent because oils are really their own creature. I know I'm going to have a lot of questions coming up because of a recent film about are oils toxic and do they hurt people? And I want to say not intrinsically are oils toxic. Sometimes thinners can be toxic, but there's so many gorgeous and amazing options out there now that you don't have to worry about that at all. All right. What brush size am I using now? I went through several 2-inch and 1-inch cutters and then a 1-inch round oval mop. All the cutters are all hog and the oval synthetic. And then someone's like, what is canvas sanding? So you get canvas and it's made out of either cotton or linen and it's finished with a product called gesso, which is a ground, just a surface preparation for paint, right? So as an artist, if you're doing a very detailed or realistic painting, you might really prefer to have an incredibly smooth surface. And if you're not going to paint on a board, right, like an ampersand board, which is gorgeous. If you're not going to paint on an ampersand board, then you're going to want a smoother surface. So what you do is you take a 400 grit sandpaper and you sand the canvas, apply a coat of gesso, sand the canvas, apply a coat of gesso, and 3 or 4 coats, you can have a perfectly smooth, no canvas texture surface. Anytime you sand your painting, though, promise me you're going to wear a mask on your face. You know all those N95 masks that we all had to have?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually what I keep in my studio all the time for dust particulates and VOCs and things that are in the studio that might be a little toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to enter for the giveaway if you're entering today. Mods tell them how they can enter, and we're going to talk about what's going on with 2. Okay, this isn't quite dry. I'm going to dry this again.
Okay.
It's weird. It's humid in the studio today.
It is.
All right, let me dry this a little bit, and John's going to say hi to you.
Yeah, so you guys, thank you for coming hang out with us. It's always a challenge in here to know exactly where, what is exactly the right amount of dry. I'm still I'm still learning myself, to be honest. But don't forget to not use heat. That's probably one of the big things. It can cause color shift and all sorts of other little issues. Don't forget, check in the link in the description down below for all sorts of interesting things. You know what? We can go up here. I wonder if you can see it. Look. There it is. We got the rain lamp working again. I still have to finish. It's not fully raining all the way down. But we'll talk about that more later. What you doing?
I'm planning my next strategy. So
Yeah?
we've got a bunch of trees coming in at this really gorgeous kind of fisheye angle coming all around, showing their crown shyness. We've got nice foreshortening on the trunks where they're thicker to thinner. We've got all that. We also have leaves. And we have to decide, do we want to put the canopy in before the trees? Kind of hard to know where to put the leaves if you don't have trees. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in the trunks initially, then put in leaves, paint them back where we need to, and then add the detail of the tiny branches. Anytime you're painting, you always want to have a strategy of like, how am I going to complete this? There's always a myriad of ways into a painting. There's not like one right or wrong way. There's just your way, and you've just got to find your way, which is why I show you so many different ways. Because you'll get to your way. I don't know when or how, but you will get there. I'm going to take a bunch of Mars Black from the Senelli Acrylic. You can use any brand of paint that you have. I'm going to put these aside for John to rewater, or actually our teenager who's doing nothing in her room because it's summer. And I'm going to grab a big round brush. Okay, this here is a number 12 black pearl. It's not really particularly important except that you want something just about around the thickness of your thumb if you're doing a big canvas. If you're doing a smaller canvas, you could use my number 4. I'm going to dip my brush in the water, and I'm going to come load my brush with the black. What you're going to notice is I dip in pretty amply 2 drops of water in the brush for sure. And I'm flipping the brush back and forth, loading the belly. This is what gives me a deep load in the brush and also allows me to paint a long brush stroke. Okay, I'm going to come over here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to be traveling up to about right here in the middle. First, I'm going to make my pathway, and then I'm going to find my details. Oh, don't let it drip. I had it over thin there. Sometimes that'll happen. I'm just going to come in. Luckily, my trunk needs to be super, super thick.
Yeah.
So I've got room. And that'll happen if you just over wet the brush, which I think I just did. Happens. Stuff happens. All right. Now it's going to come up to about there. And it comes out thick. And then as the tree travels away from you, right, it's going to get much and much thinner until it goes all the way to the tip. So all I have to do is just lighten my brush pressure as I go. And come in and put little details in at a later date. Let's go again. I'm going to come over here from the right, and I'm going to come up to about here now on my surface, and I'm going to start from about here. This is another thick trunk. I like to work in my thicker trunks at first, and the reason is that I can fill in lots of details with the littles. But planning out where the big structural ones, those are the focuses on the canvas, right? Those are the trees that really hold our attention.
Mm-hmm.
So putting them in first lets me really see the balance of what I'm doing and make a decision if my reference photo needs to be changed or not. Because references are references. We don't have to do exactly what's on them. I'm going to look back at that too little fingering. And I feel good about it, which is good because it's a black line.
It's a foreshortened black line.
It is. It is. These should be thicker coming up. Now I'm going to move this to the edge of my easel.
Okay.
These trees, ones coming up here, won't be as thick as their brethren on the side. Could be that they're not as old a growth. Can be that they're further away, but they will be thicker. And come up. And put another one over here, say to the right, that's going to come in and fill in. Thicker at the bottom. Remember to lighten your brush up as you bring it up. And the reason I'm using a bigger brush is sometimes if you use a bigger brush, it will shorten the amount of time that you're spending on a painting, because if you use too small of a brush, yeah, you get more control. But it may make you work much harder for the painting. You can see that I kind of do that little tentative upward stroke and then bring it up. These don't have to be perfect strokes yet either. We haven't done the trunks. We're just figuring out where our leaves are going to go and planning these guys. You know, what is their placement? Just an upward stroke.
All of them reaching up into the sky.
Up into the sky. I can stroke back down if I need to have a little more weight on it. Very important that some trees come in from the side here for this look to work.
Mm-hmm.
And very important we maintain a thing called crown shyness, which is the trees don't like their little leaves to touch each other.
Ooh, they're shy trees.
They're shy trees. All trees are a little bit shy. I think it's how they prevent the spread of disease, to be really honest. But, you know, I only have insomnia and I stay up at night and watch nature shows. So.
I always thought it was so that they could keep the squirrels to themselves.
No. If you guys are on my YouTube or Facebook, I did a post earlier about a love bomb. If you guys can check that out, make some time today to do that. I would super appreciate it as a favor to me. I don't want to make the whole video about that, but if you go check the Facebook page and check the community tab on YouTube,
It's
you'll
your
see
show.
what I mean.
Oh,
I just wanted you guys to go send Gary Jenkins some love for a whole bunch of reasons. Just go by, check out his channel, subscribe to it, and leave a positive comment, because sometimes that's the best thing you can do in the face of something not fun, is bring some positivity into somebody's front door, and that can give them the energy like do their thing. It's what I would want.
Yeah. So that's what you're doing.
That's what I do. You gotta be the change you want to see in the world, as they say. All right. So let's call this a step, because now we have some idea of maybe where some branches and things can go and how we're going to put in those leaves. We can always paint in the trees, the trunks that we paint out with our leaves. But at least we're like, okay, we got to have some structure or some crowns here and there, and it won't feel so difficult to imagine where any of it would be. I should dry it too, or you can dry it. You can dry it.
You can tell them about all the things we do.
I would tell them about all the things we do. We do a lot of things. We have classes all week. Don't bonk the camera. Nikki Sherpa says, Nikki D. Sherpa, how are you doing, Nikki D. Sherpa? I have not seen your name pop up in a while. It doesn't mean you haven't been here, just like during live when the question's gotten to me. Is the giveaway worldwide? It is if you're within $35 shipping distance from us. So we're willing to ship it $35 away. Thank you, Patty Hoffman, for the super chat. And she's loving my blonde hair with unicorn tips. I gotta get freshened, but I'm liking it too very much. And Beth Mulligan says, my granddaughter just asked why your hair isn't pink anymore. Well, I love pink hair. Pink hair is terrific. But I also liked rainbow hair. And so after the hair salon opened back up, I thought it'd be fun to go get rainbow hair, like on the tips. I've got to get it freshened up. It was brighter earlier. We did figure out that I can't have green hair of any kind when we have a green screen, because then I just have blonde hair and no rainbow, because the green doesn't show. And Cindy Souter says, I bought golden open by mistake. Should I keep it or return it? Is it mixable with handy standard heavy golden? It's mixable with any acrylic. Not just Golden's product, but any acrylic. And what it'll do is it will slow any paint you mix it into, it will slow that paint's drying down a little bit. Or if you look at the other way, the heavy body paint will speed up its drying time. So it's a two-way street. It's a really good product. I sometimes wish I had started my YouTube journey like with Golden Open, because I think having a slower drying paint might have been easier for everyone. But you know, we're 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,300 videos in at this point, so I don't know how many hundred watercolor videos. So we're kind of in it, aren't we, all together, going through this journey, using the stuff that we're using. Any art material is good, though. Every art material has a positive, and every art material has a negative. And you just have to learn the personalities of all the art materials and then find the one you get along with best. That's really the trick, right? Kind of like with people. Everybody's got positives and negatives, but you just figure out the people that you get along with best. Okay, so I've got my yellow already over here, and I'm going to bring my red this way. I've got some red over here, and I'm going to also take a little red to the side, and I'm going to get some of my dioxazine purple into it when I find it. Come here, dioxazine purple. So I'm going to want to mix some deep colors up into some brighter colors, and that's why I put that aside. So what I have out now is my cad yellow medium, my cad red medium. I had phthalo blue mixed with a little bit of white. I made this color mixed halfway between with white here. I've got Mars black, cad red, and dioxazine purple. So that's what's on the palette right now. I'm going to take an artist knife and come in and mix just a deep red purple here, kind of pre-mix it. I can add it a little purple to darken it, but this gives me a starting point and a nice ample amount of paint for the starting point, and that's important. And I'm using the knife just so it's thoroughly mixed. Remember, you can use your brush or you can use a loyalty card or anything like that. Now, for this next part, to do the leaves, we could do a sea sponge. We could do a fan brush. We can do a round hog. And I'm thinking today, I'm going to just do a big round hog, is what I'm going to do. Just a big round brush, right? It's kind of pointy and sticky and all of those things. And I've got lots of versions of it, but I'll just take my Art Minds little cheap one because I've shed out most of its loose hairs at this point. And I'm going to get my brush just a smidge wet, as you can see there. Not a lot of water in it. Too much water, I get drips, right? And I'm going to load it with the paint. Make sure I'm not too loaded. It's going to be a little bit of a dry brush technique. Put my reference where I can see it. And let's add some leaves using this little brush. Again, fan would work. Lots of little brushes would work. Bringing a little guy out there. We're going to add trunk back, so don't feel bad if you lose some. All right? And put a little cloud right there. This is almost like cloud painting, crown painting.
It's like laying on.
Understand that all of these leaves are in the background, and really almost hardly any of them cross in front of their respective trees. Mm-hmm. So we will be painting in the branches again.
Gotcha.
Now I know I've got some interesting little leaves here. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make little puzzle or irregular shapes. This is good irregular shape practice. Right. Even though I know I'm going to paint my trunk back in, I may come in and add some of this color covering the trunk, because when I put the trunk back in, it'll go behind it. That's object placement. Very important thing we do in art is we decide in a two-dimensional space, how do I make the objects look placed? Mm-hmm. I'm going to tamp up and down. Again, this is the Art Minds brush. It came in a pack. It was $3. We'll make sure that I'll put the link of where I got it. I was at Michael's, but I think every hobby or craft store has a version of this. I feel like I've seen it like at every hobby craft store. I think it might even be at the dollar store. The trick with them is they shed out a lot, so you have to wash them a whole bunch in the beginning. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to make little shapes, and I'm trying to make sure there are paths between those shapes, right? Paths between the shapes. And I'll go ahead and include some leaves coming on and off the surface, and that is because some of these trees are coming through. Mm-hmm. It is going to be the play of these bright oranges that really makes this just delicious and wonderful.
Yeah.
Right, so this deep cad red with Doc's purple, it's just the start. It's just the first expression of it. And I'm just tapping and pressing in and just paying attention to the way it marks and thinking about the trees. I've got a reference. You guys have a reference in the Facebook event that you can use. You know, not bad. Mm-hmm. Make sure that there's little trees.
Many little trees.
Yeah, you gotta have them.
These are the skinny from the ground looking up trees.
These are the skinny from the ground looking up trees. So it's a good time to practice those natural forms that are a little irregular and how they might stack out in the universe. You know, if I come down lower into the surface, I may even darken with my purple a little bit these leaves. Trying to keep little shapes informed. It's good practice. It can be a little challenging if you've never done it before, because it might have been a while since you talked to your art brain. Might have been a minute.
Yeah.
And it's probably so excited to be doing anything with you right now. It's just in your ear, right? I got to tell you, if you haven't talked to your art brain since grade school, the first time you bring a brush out or a crayon or a marker or anything, you do anything creative, it's like your art brain is like, you're talking to me? You're talking to me? Me? You want my opinion? And then it just loses its mind. And it may kidnap you for a few projects. Just go with it. It needs to have its moment. It needs to feel its feels.
Those aren't Sherpa magnets on the table, are they?
They are not Sherpa magnets. They're what we're giving away today. They are 2 pins. There's a big pin in my face and a little pin in me. It's weird. I think it's weird to have pins in myself, but it's what we have.
You know what?
It's what you do.
I got to pin my wife.
It's just, you did some. Oh, so I've got my darker red down here. Right? The darker red down here. I can always add. It's a little hard to take away in this method, so proceeding a little cautiously doesn't hurt you. Step back.
Step back.
Look at your painting.
Do
you like the way? Does it feel like forest to you? Now, here's another thing. Chances are you are not going to be very nice to yourself when you paint. Because you're probably not trusting your own instincts, right? You're new to it, and you might be thinking, well, what do I know? I'm just a student. I'm just starting out. I'm just doing tutorials online. But you actually know a lot. And a lot of your first year or so in your journey is not just learning techniques and processes and weird little goofy things like this, but also learning that your creative voice is as valuable as anybody else's. And that sometimes you do know what you're doing. Ooh, this one wants to shed this hair so badly.
Oh, Maggie says, thank you for helping me find my joy in the world again.
You're so welcome, Maggie. Thank you for giving me purpose in the world. I appreciate it. You guys coming out and painting with me. Man, what a lovely way to get to spend my life, right? You know, those of us that are blessed to get to teach, we are a lucky group. Because I get to do what I love, but more importantly, I get to share what I love.
See, I get to do just sit back and watch. So it's the best job. Like I just like watch and heckle occasionally.
So I'm being very careful because there's also some different values of leaves and stuff down here, and I want to make sure sky is sticking out.
Yeah.
Sky is super important. If your name is Sky, you're important. I'm going to bring a nice little tree maybe that will be here. And we'll be coming back with lighter colors. I like to look, stand and look.
Yeah.
It's just a little process.
Just kind of look around at it.
Right? What you're going to want to avoid if you're new is making repeated patterns, making the same shape again and again, creating almost like a hand-done stamp. You know, repeat, 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 repeat. You want to break up those patterns. You want to have a little wandering of puzzle pieces between your trees. Notice I'm kind of going like this. It's kind of like maybe a little tree that's sort of sitting there with different little canopies going. It's fun to vary the canopy.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do that on occasion. Tell the story of a little bit of a varied canopy. Sometimes we don't think about the trees. They think about us, actually. We forget to think about them. Do you know that mother trees talk to their daughter trees through the root system? You probably do because you guys watch the same Netflix shows that I watch.
And the mycelial network.
And the mycelial network, and mother trees send like warnings to their daughters.
So, while I may not agree that there is an intergalactic tunnel of mold that we can travel through, I do think that trees may talk with mycelial networks.
Yes, he does. Get back and look at things. If you can't stand, if you have mobility issues and you can't stand and look at your painting, what you can do is take a picture on your phone and look at it through your phone, because sometimes the different point of view is all you need to see what's going on. You can use a lot of brushes for this. They're good brushes. They're beautiful brushes that do this technique. They're sea sponges.
Just as long as you got your
Q-tips would probably do this. My Q-tip technique would do this.
You're just getting your core back brush or background.
The deep shadow of the leaves. The leaves need deep shadows, man.
Without the deep shadows, where would the country music be?
John is not a friend to country music. I'm going to out him right now.
I would say country music is not a friend to me.
I'd say country music is a friend to you.
I do like Garth Brooks. Seems to be a
so much to think about. See how we're creating little shapes. We're thinking about how the little trees between the trees might look, right? Where we put these little leaves, we're going to have to put a little highlight, a little color, a little zhuzh, but we're also going to have to come back and put a lot of little branches, right? And we want to make sure that when we're doing that, we have some great little branches to put our little leaves into. Now I've just gotten into playing myself.
Mm.
It happens. Sometimes you'll get to playing and you're like, well, that was fun. All right, let's call that a step. We don't have to wash or anything. We should rinse out just so we can reload the brush or change brush sizes or shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that can be helpful when you're doing this, though generally I find you can get to a corner of a brush or some little angle or element of a brush and be just fine. I'm going to give this to John. I'm going to say thank you to everybody today for your support. Just generally your support in everything that we do. You know, like, well, it's so weird. I think the camera's shaking. We're how or
the camera shakes.
okay.
It's on the ground.
John, stop hopping. You're not a Tigger. He's hopping. John's hopping. Okay, so we've got some stabilization. This is part of the new studio. We've been working on it forever. It's getting better and better and better and better. Like better and better and better, but it still has things that we're working on, like cameras that are not affected by us walking through. I have to say, I feel better about filming in my own home, though. Okay. So coming through here, we're going to want to definitely lighten some of this color, right? We're going to want to put some brighter take on it.
Okay.
So I can get a different brush, but I think I'm going to get my similar brush. I'll grab some of my color from before, and I'll come over to my red. You know, mixing into this. It's still pretty much red. I'm just toning it a bit, right? Let's come here with this more red.
Okay.
Well, look at that. We just
Ooh.
cap the tops of some of these, which is why I was like, you could just...
It's a kapow.
Yeah, it's a pow. This is what called artists to the woods to paint. This is so beautiful and fun. It's beautiful and fun. And you're having fun. And you can do this. And remember, this isn't a one and done kind of a thing. It's today's painting, tomorrow's painting, next week's painting.
Mm-hmm.
You're learning a technique. Some of them are going to come super easy. Some techniques or concepts, man, you're going to be like, this is like made for me. And some are going to be a little bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace all of it. It's all worth it. So you can see how that starts to shape those. Can you see it? We're going to look at it. Start to shape those trees more distinctly, doesn't it? We know we're coming back over the leaves with our trunks, so it's okay. And we're adding many more trunks.
More
So that's
chunks.
okay as well. We're doing good. I can use a mister if I want to wet my palette, but not add too much water. Right? I want to just a little bit. The acrylic, we've got to control the water. Pretend you're on
Spritz.
Dune and Arrakis. It's all about the water, friends. So paint like you're a Fremen warrior.
Sherpa is a painting word.
Quizat arat. All right, so I didn't use that book to survive my childhood at all. No, not at all.
You must learn to walk without rhythm. But what's the point of not having rhythm?
Life. On Dune, it's life. There's no trap on Dune. There's no trap on Dune.
I would
There's
not
no
survive.
trap on Dune.
Yeah,
There's
no.
no
And
raves, no.
Trap's a type of music that I listen to, which is melodic, bass line, beat, heavy music. Would not work well there.
No, not on Dune.
Yeah.
Maybe on Endor.
Now, if your Suzuki Sidekick has two 18s in the back like mine does, it works well.
All right. don't want to, go too far away. Come to the edges here. So some of these down low are a little bit lighter than their friends because they're backlit. So I have to leave plans for that, right?
Okay.
You've got to make plans. Bring little arcs up. Think about the... Try not to drag the brush. Or just drug the brush.
Your paint seems to be doing pretty well out there.
Yep.
Now, is that because you have a lot of moisture and there's a lot of paint out there?
Okay, I'm on a glass palette and I don't have a humidifier today, but it feels humid, so I think that that's helping. Right? I think we've got some humidity in my favor today. And also I have a quality paint, right? I'm painting with heavily pigmented professional paints. If you're painting with an economy kit, what may be frustrating for you isn't that you can't paint, but you may find yourself having trouble to get the paint to do what you want it to do because it's very thin. It levels really easily. It's really sensitive to water, and it may not have a lot of pigment. Does that mean you can't get a great painting out of it? Not at all. You go on TikTok, watch for a little bit. These kids are painting with like stuff from like 5 below and still doing a great job. So you can get there. You just have to know your art materials. You just have to know what they're like. And if they're a little weak sauce, then you're like, I will be glazing for a minute. It's fine. I'll get with you later. That's what you say to me. You say, all right, Sherpa, I'm going to be glazing for a minute, but I'll catch up with you later. You just may need some more layers. Don't worry about it. All paint is real paint. All artists are real artists. I mean, that doesn't mean we don't collect. I'm super excited. I just bought myself a Carol Marine.
I know.
I'm so excited about my Carol Marine. I'm going to say it again. I own an original Carol Marine, and I'm very excited. I have another artist I'm going to talk to John about buying an original painting of theirs.
You're more than welcome to. I have my own.
Well, they're more in that. They're a little higher than Carol was. So it's a conversation.
Okay.
But I think it's somebody I want to support.
So
I'm gonna
don't tell
support
anybody
some
else.
people. I'm not gonna tell anybody else because I want a chance to buy it.
Right. Once we get it, then you can tell everybody all about what you were looking for.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Sorry,
Sometimes
buddy.
you support other people because...
My buddy Seth's calling, but I can't call.
Hi, Seth. Hope you're great. All right, so there we have that. Let's call that a layer, right? Now
layer?
we've added, you're kind of seeing maybe the canopy, maybe the trees. We're missing one layer in the leaves. And that's going to be the one that pulls it all together. Rinse this brush out, dry it off well. When we come back, we'll get those leaves. John, you want to take a picture? Well, this towel's getting wet. I'm going to grab another one. Yeah, I was real excited. I go to a place, Daily Paintworks, and they have daily painters, and I've been a member for a long time, and I missed out on being able to collect anything by drama or different people, but I for a long time tried to snake a Carol Marine, and I got one, and I was like, ooh, I really wanted it too. And I got it. I was so excited. I get excited when I buy art too. I used to have a really big art collection. Really big. And we've had a couple tragedies that caused me to lose it, but the art's still in the world, so it's okay. All right. Now I'm going to take my brush all rinsed out, and I'm going to come over here into my red and yellow. I'm going to make kind of a deep orange. It's got to be darker than the sky. I'm going to go right here, babe.
Okay. Let me go over here and... Oh, yeah.
I want to definitely pull any loose hairs. That's the issue with the cheap brush. It's a shedder. I'm going to come around some of my little canopies and make sure that they've got some little halos, maybe. There'll be like darker red up here, perhaps. That orange and blue is going to pop against each other.
It really is.
It's just a journey. You'll find your way. Don't worry. Coming to the tops of trees and tapping that down. And you can do that. Look at that. We're just going to tap it down. We know we're going back to replace the trunks. We only had them to tell us where our trees grew. Just enough information to be like, oh, I think a tree is growing here. Right? And where I'm down low, I might want to be more into the yellow. Don't paint away all your background sky that you worked so hard to blend. That's the trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get so invested in your wonderful little yellow leaves that you paint away all of the sky you worked so hard to blend. Just enjoy it. Thinking about what it is. Have fun. Ugh, cheap brush is so shitty. So shitty. No, wasn't saying the other word, I promise. Sheddy. I know the closed caption is going to be like, uh-oh. Sometimes the closed caption thinks I'm saying the craziest things. Back before they tuned it in, I used to get like complaints from people going, I can't believe you said that.
Every once in a while,
Pretty sure I didn't.
I want to throw in random words like platypus.
Ooh.
How does it handle that?
How is it going to handle that? Badly, I imagine.
Yep, that's always it's a surprise. Like, what did we get? Where are you going over there? There you are.
Well, you look and you'll go, oh, I feel like I need a thing here, or I feel like I need a thing here, and, put it in. You'll know when you see it. You'll know it when you see it. You don't have to be too much. It's just a little bit. Enjoy. It's as much about these branches as it is about these treetops, so just enjoy. You got a little crazy with my canopies, but I'll have to get in it with my treetops. Rinse out, rinse out, rinse out, rinse out. Put that to the side for a deep wash after. Definitely will want this dry before you do the branches in the next step. But we're really nearly done. This was that kind of a painting today.
I'll give you a step here, and then I'll go dry it.
He's going to give me a step and then dry it. And then I'm going to read your comments if there's any that my team has sent me. Because they sent me comments.
Are you done splattering?
Yes, I believe I'm done. I did some damage to her. I got to clean her later. It's fine. I also think I knocked one off the wall. So, it's my art. I can replace it. It's fine. Actually, I do feel that way. When stuff happens in my art, it's really not that frustrating for me because I'm like, I'll just repaint it.
On our website.
Oh, you can go to the Art Sherpa website and you can find information about this video and other videos like it, like 1,300, 1,400 videos. It's a crazy number of art lessons. Huh? I have a watercolor channel. You can come by tomorrow on my watercolor channel and paint watercolor with me. We're going to do line and wash, which is a really beginner-friendly technique so that you guys can learn watercolor without worrying about holding the image while trying to also figure out techniques. So it's a great way to just know the image will be there for you, but the techniques, those are where you can focus your attention. And I think that's pretty awesome. Oop, I went to tech support. I never want to go to tech support on our thing. Not mods, live store questions. That's where I'm at. Tracy on YouTube says, where does everybody dump their dirty water? Well, there are no laws or legislation saying that you cannot pour it down the sink. However, a lot of artists, many artists, and many paint companies are starting to do a thing called crash solid kits or reclamation, because acrylic solids are much less accessible to the environment when they're dry than when they're in the water, being soluble. So you can go to the Golden Artists blog, which is justpaint.com, and they have instructions on how to build your own, like for free, crash kit, or you can just buy one from them. They have that on their YouTube channel, the Golden Paint YouTube channel. And some people use kitty litter or straw. There's a lot of ways of doing it, but generally right now people are moving towards that because microplastics, and that may all be a thing for acrylic paint in the future. We'll have to see. I want to thank Deborah Evans on YouTube. Oh, Raheel. I've heard that Artina easels are awesome, but again, not available here. Which easel is Sherpa using YouTube? I believe this is the Richardson table easel.
No, yes, I
but
thought
it's a basic style of easel, and I would say you figure out the style of it, and then you get the one that is available to you, because there's like a few basic shapes of easels, and they all there's only a few like innovative easel makers. And most of it is just they make the easels and then everybody knocks it off.
What's probably more than innovation, what you want is quality and stability.
I think the bamboo stuff is pretty cool because it's so not subject to swelling and shrinkage.
We'll do a video on how to make what we've got here.
Yeah, if you want to make what we have here, we'll show you how.
Easy.
It was weird, but I'll show you how. All right.
You got to teach people.
I'm going to teach people.
Got to learn them.
What is that plant thing behind my easel? Why, that's a rain lamp. And what brand is your paint? I'm mostly painting with Saint Helier's Acrylic, which, by the way, is on 60 or 75% off clearance, I think, at Dick Blick today. And I'm not a rep for Dick Blick. I'm just saying I saw the sale today because I was sharing it with somebody else. Always check the clearance sales on every online art supply website. And I'm also doing Artist Loft Level 3, which is not their beginner paint, it's their pro paint. And I think I have... Nope, that's all there is today. Not even any golden today. So that's what it is today.
All right.
All right.
You're going to keep learning them good?
All right, I'm going to keep learning them good. I'm going to keep learning them good, but I'm going to get my reference to do it. Now we're going to do the many, many branches.
Hurry up. What you getting?
Okay, what are you doing? You're like rushing me.
I'm trying to track you on the cameras. I don't know where you're going.
I'm going to need clean water again soon. Luckily it's black, but I would love a cup
I'm not
to clean.
at all rushing you, by the way. I'm just like excitedly going, all right, what's next?
You're freaking me out, man.
Sorry. No,
You're freaking me out. This kind of enthusiasm is freaking me out.
You know what? You just take a moment and take a breath. It's not as effective when I do it because I go.
So I'm using the number 4 Art Sherpa round. It's a nice round. You don't have to use this round. You could use any round you want.
Now you're not. You're leaving some of that red to show through.
We're supposed to actually, a lot of these they completely almost totally reveal it. Some of the little ones up here you can do that, but these big ones we are absolutely going over it. So it depends. Like here, I'm going to let some of it. You got to have your little tree game on, right? So we're putting up these little branches in our little tree game. Isn't that fun? Putting little branches on the tree game?
That's pretty cool.
I like it.
It really makes that, I mean, it takes it from like this, sort of out of focus, not sure what we're looking at, to whoa, we're looking up at some trees. That's really cool.
You just want to get in there and put lots and lots of little branches in. Hi, Pumpkin. You look amazing. Look amazing. Can I have two? And when you rinse out that blue brush there, I don't want the paint to dry on it. Without getting any mess on you, because you look amazing. I don't know if I'm allowed to have her on camera because she looks amazing.
She's your kid.
Sorry.
You can do whatever you want.
Have them on camera. Sorry. Learning, working it out, learning.
Yeah.
It's a journey, I have to tell you, for you guys that know about honey. Figuring it out as we go.
She's getting to the place where she's got her own success vector that we're just now helping support.
And honey, she's kind of working out. Gosh, I'm still doing it.
What are you doing?
So.
That's okay. We're
My kiddo, my human, is working out who they are. Do you want to say hi?
Want me to say
I would love you to say hi because you're amazing. And I'm very proud of you. Okay, so come on in and say hi.
walk in?
just
Yeah,
walking.
just because you look fabulous. Here, I'm going to get out of the way and you say hi. You wave
Oh,
all the
you
way.
come in over there.
This is who does the show now. I retired. This will care for she,
Go
They
out
will
there
care
with
for
her.
you.
Don't leave her alone. You're gonna
They will care for
traumatize her.
you.
Hello.
So you made most of everything you're wearing, aren't
Mhm.
didn't you?
I made all my necklaces and stuff.
Can't imagine
It's really-
Honey
Where's
is an artist and a pony.
Yeah, I'm a pony.
She's
It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It's your try.
you're amazingly kind. I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's the point that matters. Is you're trying.
Always trying. Habits, though.
Habit.
Habits.
I'm not
Love you. I got to remember the swarm of bees rule.
What's that?
To do them, you do swarm of bees. Just speak about teenagers like a swarm of bees.
Oh, that's a
That's
good-
how you remember.
Ah,
Ah. That's how you always remember. So some of you may remember, honey, from years ago. Oh, now Twix wants attention. Well, everybody's visiting. What is going on today?
you gave some attention around, and she just felt left out. Is all.
Twix did? Yeah.
Oh wow, she really is pushy. Come here.
Offer Twix a sock. Just rip whatever's on your foot off and give Twix a sock. So, definitely, like every other family, figuring out, how to be good parents, working those things out.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy.
She got her first subscription to Vogue. I was so happy for her.
Dad's still working on it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Honey is very supportive of our journey. Very understanding of parents.
I don't remember my own pronouns. So.
But honey is very understanding. It's really about us just putting an effort to understand
It's like
who honey feels honey is and what is important to honey,
right.
in that moment and being there unconditionally.
I am a product of my generation. I start with a general lack of concern about general things and have to be convinced that I should have some.
It's true. Children of Generation X, I feel bad for. Raised in sarcasm, raised in the fires of sarcasm.
I'm sure that's been healthy.
Super. So yeah, if you apply, so the swarm of bees thing is you talk about your teenagers, a swarm of bees, they are running up the stairs like, what would the swarm of bees doing? The bees are here. They are buzzing up this hill. See? Gets you there. Just coming in and doing branches. And I am not commenting on anybody else and choices that they are making in their life. But I am trying to be supportive. My mom was super supportive of me when I was growing up. All my weirdness. I'm just continuing to pull branches. You just come off of a trunk and you stroke them out, and then come up and add another little bit, and then they just continue on.
Mm-hmm. They're just branching out.
But honey makes and designs most of that jewelry and fashion wear and everything that you saw, and also does a whole line of like pony fan art, My Little Pony fan art, and is hoping to go to fashion school. So I am hoping that for honey too.
So I have a question while you're over there, in the leaves, so to speak. How do you keep from getting forky branches?
So forky branches happen when
You can just move your palette and paint on the surface.
forky branches happen when you have a branch and the two side branches come off.
Uh-huh.
When you want your branches to not fork, you want to wander them up the distance.
Oh.
See how we get there? But if we go like that, they fork. So it's about putting two offshoots off the main shoot at the same distance. You want to move one up or down.
Gotcha.
So that's my main tactic, my main strategy.
Your fork philosophy.
Dude, I'm just trying to figure it out every day, and sometimes all I've got is the branches. You know, sometimes that's all we got. All we understand is the branches. Get a little water there. Well, I think back to when Honey was on here helping me paint a unicorn. You remember that? We had the Choose Your Own Adventure unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
And then as Spider, my son, came and taught everybody how to do a mushroom because his father had a stage fright attack.
More or less.
More or less. And Spider was like, Dad, I've got you. I'll just teach everyone how to paint a mushroom. This is April Fool's Day, so we thought it'd be really funny to put John on camera and have him teach something. And then we discovered John does not like. He's stunt hands for reasons.
Yeah, I'm like, I kept telling people, I'm really not an in front of the camera kind of person.
Yeah, the theater thing that you did in school really made that confusing, I got to tell you. I believe you now, but, you know, nobody believed him at the time. And so
here's the thing. You could get me to be a monster in a costume and be on screen. I totally would do that. Puppets, you got me. But I'm not fond of seeing me out there.
This is sort of true.
Besides, I have so many buttons to push back here.
You do. You have so many buttons. And you love your buttons.
I have robots. Now I'm getting some robot lights.
You're getting some robot lights. I'm going to bring a nice big one off here. Branch out one here. So you see, it's just about carrying on what we did with our big branches. Into little branches that we were building out. Just adding little details up at the tops. Each tree has its own little personality and we just have to find it. I'm going to add a little one there. So I'm just adding more little tree trunks and then I'll paint those in as I can.
Gotcha.
I could do fluid paint too, black fluid paint, but I didn't want to make you guys buy a whole nother paint. Sometimes that'll shorten the journey on this because you don't have to wet the paint to get it to flow out. Heavy body paint you have to modify with water or medium.
So to the patrons, yes. What happened when the question... that camera's wandering. Don't wander off. My camera was... If I switch cameras in the middle while one of the the cameras will wonder if I do certain things, and sometimes I... Anyway, Patty was asking, are the robots for the disco ball? And the answer is yes. They're robot lights for the disco ball. So thank you, patrons.
Yes, all of the stars and super chats, what we do is we put that into direct studio improvements.
And
John has a little wish list of equipment that he's getting, and we just...
Oftentimes I match what the patrons give me. Because
Dude,
I'm like,
we get there, though, and that's the important thing.
Good, we make do. Because I just can't help it. 2 disco balls. Like, we got the 120-inch disco ball, and I was like, that's too big. What are we going to do with that?
I see you. Okay. All right, come here. Everyone say hi to Twix.
Hello,
Twix just wants a
Twix.
hi.
She
Twix
was
just
so
wants a hi. She needs to see the groomer. See this.
Groomer's going to
Stinky.
be here soon.
Yeah, you bet. Oh, but it's tough to be an action, tiny little dog in the weeds, in the leaves, and the chasing of the bugs, and stay fashionable. She loves that attention, doesn't she? She's like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted. Whatever you're doing was not important, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're just,
You're not doing anything that you need to do.
so saith the dog.
So saith the dog. I'm thinking that Honey was on the way out for an Instagram post.
No, she had
they-
High School Musical tryouts.
Oh, it was the high school today?
So she's being very good, and they're all doing the appropriate masking and social distancing, but they're going to try to do some musical stuff. So I was like, all right, you go try it out. Let's see what we can do.
Well, the nice thing in high school is that, everyone's able to make good choices.
Mm-hmm. We are in the vaccination camp early and often.
Not telling anyone else what to do. I'm just saying.
That's
That's us.
you do you, but that's we think that's a good idea. Actually, you should just go get vaccinated. It doesn't matter.
As we get 100 unsubs.
I don't care. I just really don't.
Well, I mean, I support everybody's right to be who they are, but I gotta be honest. I support people's gender identity, and I support my child and my child's gender identity, and I support people's rights to be who they truly are. I think it's safer and healthier for them, and I'm sorry if that makes people angry and makes me unpopular.
I also like public health.
Hmm?
I also like public safety and health.
Yeah.
So I believe in all that. We love everyone. We want everyone to be here forever. So the only reason we want you to go be healthy is so that you're healthy. Right?
Yeah.
We want everyone to be around painting forever and ever.
It's just a crazy world right now where that's, you say that and then people get mad at you.
Snail mail. Angela would like to know if we have a snail mail address. You can go and find on our website with the Art Sherpa ATC swap. So that's generally where we can still receive.
I'm going to stand back and look at that.
Ooh. Look at that. It's really starting to come in there.
And since this kind of came out on camera, and it's been out a little bit before, my eldest daughter identifies as they, them. However, absolutely understands this is the internet. Not everybody knows all information at all times and does not personalize anybody else's action as long as they're coming from a loving place. So please don't correct each other.
Right.
That was one of the things that we found a little alarming last time is people out of the best intentions were correcting each other on pronouns, and nobody wants that. We're just being supportive of Honey's truth and Honey's and their journey, Honey's journey along the way. Mm-hmm. And if that's something that you want to do, that is okay. If that's something you don't know about, that's okay. So please don't go jump somebody that doesn't know. Just don't. Just like the hard thing about being online.
Unexpected.
Yeah. You know me.
I'm
I'm a tear upper.
Here, look, I'm gonna throw a box at you.
Throw a box at me, we'll catch it. The hard thing about being online is not what people say to me. I'm okay.
Clearly tearing up.
I know I feel the things strongly. I don't know what to tell you. It's the vagus nerve. It just got overwhelmed today. It's not what people say to me. It's how people treat my children. Or how people weigh in on your family or the people around you, because my family didn't sign up for any of this. My kids are not signed up for this. This isn't their problem. They're having their lives. They're having their journey. And each of them is going to be who they are. And it is my goal as a parent to try to understand that and get behind that. And I recognize, though, sometimes those lives will cross over. And that's what's nerve-wracking for me. And, we're still figuring it out, clearly, right? because that's something that, we've had 16 years being one way, 16 going in 17, and we're learning it, and we've
For
all
sure.
had a family meeting about like the slow cruise ship of turning.
The most accurate statement to date is that honey is a bunch of angry bees.
Creative, incredibly colorful angry bees. But right, but that we're still figuring out, and that's the other reason why I don't want you guys to jump each other. This is not an issue. I want anyone to jump each other over. It's
No, it's fine. We get your
people
point.
are growing up and they're figuring it out, and I want my child also to have the chance to figure it out in all the ways that they need to figure it out.
This is Sherpa saying, "Be cool, honey bunny."
That's when you figure out that we actually did name my child after, which is maybe not the wisest parenting move ever made by me. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of amazing comments from you guys and everything, and I know I'm going to get some intense comments, but just try to remember that none of my kids, my family members, except for my mom who's online, signed up for any of this. And when people say, like, maybe not great stuff to me, I'm actually kind of mostly okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love it if it's a family member, of course, but...
See, I feel like Zafrank. Don't wake the bees.
The bees?
I don't remember if he made a joke about one of the first Wii games. It's called "Don't Wake the Bees."
Don't wake those bees. And sometimes the internet is the bees, and there's a lot going on there right now. People are having like real problems and real life stuff happening, and I think sometimes we get caught up into these little internet eddies to distract ourselves from that. How intense that is. I'm just still painting trees. Man, so I want you to know that if we have like 200 or 300 unsubs a day, that's okay. I'm okay. I accept that people have a right to vote with their presence. I truly believe that, and I wish everybody well if that's the case.
Yep.
And if it's not, gosh, I'm so glad.
If you're sticking around, you're our
Thank
people.
you so much. It's so appreciated.
Everyone's sending you the love.
I'm sorry I get misty-eyed,
All
guys.
the
You guys know I
loves.
get to a certain thought, and then it hits my heart, and then I get all teary-eyed, and I start feeling the feels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it used to be that I couldn't watch any telephone commercials. Just like if they were like on TV, Sarah McLachlan started singing, I had to go.
I was a huge fan of zombie movies before I had kids.
Oh yeah, I can't do zombie movies anymore. And I
Now
would have
it's like-
loved every minute of The Walking Dead. And I tried The Walking Dead, and I was like, can't do it.
God, I mean, like you're just like
Great
"What,
show,
man,
can't do it."
That's not gonna work. You can't have kids there.
Babies were never quiet. Like when I watched The Quiet Place, I was like, yeah, baby. That was the scariest thing about the whole movie for me was that she was a baby. I was like, oh no, that's the most noise that you could have in your life.
So, zombie survival advice: go north.
Well,
You gotta get up there where
messing up my makeup.
you got the meat popsicles. They can't wander around. Those trees are reaching.
They are reaching.
So many reaching trees.
So many little branches. And this is why you get to thinking about things in your life that are serious too. You're like, I have to paint all the branches.
The introspective space between the branches.
There's so many spaces between the branches, guys. It's all the spaces between the branches. Just enjoy them. The space between the branches, the moments between the moments. What can you do but the moments between the moments? Fill them with love and hopefully good memories.
See,
And make a meaningful life wherever you can.
this is where I think I may have been led astray in my youth by Bugs Bunny. Because as I think of idle things to do,
You want to turn left in Albuquerque?
I'm like, maybe, that idea doesn't sound so good when you say it out loud.
Do you remember when our parents were super concerned we were going to watch like the Roadrunner and Coyote and like get an idea?
Right.
Like they decide gravity didn't work. I remember being so offended. My parents were like, cartoons are not real. And you can't do those things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like an A student. I know gravity works. It's a drawn Roadrunner. Also, look how fast that shipping is. You could never have shipping that fast. Look how wrong I was there. Things that have surprised me deeply in the future has got to be like the speed of shipping.
Oh.
Just adding some little crickety little branches up there, and you can see as it fills in, it just gets there. I mean, we could do this real fast on a time lapse, but why not spend the time and paint together?
So Mary asked a very interesting question. Did
Hi,
not
Mary.
expect this one to come from Mary. So, do you watch Speed Racer? And have you ever wanted to paint the Mach 5?
Yes, but not the Mach 5 because, like, I'll paint it for you guys, and you guys have definitely made me face my fear of painting cars, and now I do them. I'm like, I can't paint cars, or I don't know which camera to look at. I can't paint cars, but is that the camera to look at when I'm standing here? Is that my camera?
No, that's this one over here. I have to kind of go.
Oh, okay. I don't know which one that is. Which one did it?
There it goes there.
Okay, so this is the one?
This is up there.
But then it looks also over my shoulder.
But see,
It's
you
the
can
new
also
studio,
do
guys.
like
You
this
gotta-
one.
The sitting one I have down, right?
Or you could go to this one over here. Or this one over here. See, the funny thing is I haven't figured out how to light you and the surface evenly at the same time. So either you're slightly overexposed and the surface is perfectly exposed, or you're perfectly exposed and the surface is a little dark.
One of those things is happening.
I got to figure out how to do lighting better. I'm just not good
I think the
at it.
robot camera's working is amazing.
It's been doing good.
Yeah, you guys have made me like certainly take on some challenges. I was saying to John that I'm such a better painter for having had to be on YouTube teaching art in this way. You guys have made me a much better artist for it. And I'm super grateful. So sometimes I make little marks and then I go, oh yeah, am I going to do it? And then I'm like, yeah, I am. Just putting those little lines up there and then deciding. That's working out pretty well though.
But I want to be the decider.
What would you be the decider of?
Probably tribbles.
You're not even in charge of the controller.
It's true. But if I could be in control, I would pick tribbles. You know, because army real fast.
Dude, if tribbles actually were like, do you remember those little tribbles with teeth from they were like monsters. It was called creatures or something, and they were just tribbles with teeth.
Mm-hmm.
That's like if tribbles had a gremlin feature where if you fed them or did something, and then they became like tribbles with teeth, that would be the thing.
Now I feel like, from all the games I played as a kid, thralls were like super powerful. So if I had a pacifist modality to fill a ship with little love creatures, I mean, they could take down the Klingon Empire.
They could. And they remember they were Klingon detectors?
Like you could travel probably across that entire space if you just had.
They would implement that at the airport if they could. If they had tribbles. That would instantly become part of airport security, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Just bringing in branches and just trying to fill this in.
Just anywhere there's problems, they just get a little package in the mail. Oh, what's this cute fuzzy thing? Months later.
Months later. So you can see the big trees go over everything in the background, and that also creates some interesting space and process.
Wonder how many people had to Google what a tribble was.
I often get messages like, you said this thing and I had to Google it. And I think that's because we have, you have people from all walks of life that paint. It's one of the few common ground places that we all have, no matter who we are. We all like to create. And, dude, even dictators created. Right? Like if you think about it, not everyone goes Hitler because everybody knows Hitler, but a lot of a lot of dictators paint
Just
it.
everyone goes right to the like. Why is it that we have to compare everything to the extremes?
Because we're extreme
need-
creatures.
We
Because we
need the
can't do
contrast.
anything in half steps. Because if we did anything in a half step, what would we be?
Well,
I don't know.
humans do not do scale well. That's true.
Boy, we really do not. Have you noticed? It's a thing. I'm like afraid to look at the metrics today.
Oh, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you. You know, I tell you what, I'm just, online and just a few people know who I am, right?
Who are you?
A few people know me, but not like tons and millions of people know me. And I just think about celebrities and what they have to go through.
Mhm.
And I do have a lot of sympathy for it.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard. It was clearly hard on Russell Brand.
He's found his place.
He has. He's good. It's a very interesting.
I really dig his particular view of the world sometimes.
I've noticed that because it on the YouTube thing it pulls up a lot of his videos. So I assume you're watching. We all share this one YouTube account and then mess up, which is John's account, and then we mess up his search algorithm.
I come in and I'm like, huh, what is this strange bird I have never seen before that is filling up my feed?
When we all got excited about Futaba,
Yeah.
that's a shoebill. We all got really excited about learning all about the shoebill, and then it was the capybara.
Capybaras are awesome.
They were awesome. John's like, I like the capybara.
That may be my spirit animal.
Just trying to make a nice full forest as I go through.
Although I'm still fond of raccoons.
Well, raccoons are awesome. Even those fat raccoons that guy feeds. Awesome.
I find mine more in the spacefaring mutant type, but
Raccoons in our area are like fit wild raccoons. They're like
we have a lot of rabbits.
we have a lot of rabbits. We've got like a warren or something here. We've got like, a deep like bunny tribe war thing going on. Watership down all the way up in here. This has been a big video.
We've been painting for a minute.
It's been painting for a minute.
This is one of those ones where you were like, oh no, this is going to be fast. We're going to be in and out, hour and a half. It's like super, no problem, super fast.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Well, no, you're not. It's like we're right here in about an hour and a half.
Oh, well, good. We're nearly done.
You did get to monologue, and
I did, but for good reason.
it was like DC wrote you for a minute.
Hey, there's no reason to be mean.
Hey, sometimes the truth will set you free. Just ask Wonder Woman.
I will, because Wonder Woman is awesome. And you want to see if the new Wonder Woman is awesome, watch your youngest child watch Wonder Woman.
That's true.
It's like the new Xena.
I have a feeling someday they're going to make a She-Hulk movie,
They need to make a She-Hulk movie.
and it will be funny.
It would be awesome. She-Hulk would be amazing.
She will tear through the film, walk through it, and then pop out
She-Hulk
in
should
another scene.
date Deadpool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting on whether or not they go into her true superpower, which is that she's aware she's a comic book character, and that in and of itself is sort of it's a really interesting element to the comic book series if you've ever read it. But interesting.
For the tops of the trees, you do want to thin the paint a good amount. Right? You got to thin the paint. Sorry, I got a little emotional, guys. I really am okay. Just, man, I'm just one of those, like, people that I get hit by things.
And the good ma'am is returning from dropping off.
Yeah. Everybody send some love to Linda Ferryman for being really helpful to make sure that, you know, people can do theater.
That the angry bees got to the hive to other bees.
to have a bee conversation.
So they could buzz about and... You know you're getting close to them because they're all like, Bzz! And you're like, ooh, I didn't know you made that sound. But I guess you are some angry bees.
I kind of love that ours just tells us everything that's going on, though.
Mm.
Like every single outrageous thing that has happened on TikTok this week. I get sent those videos.
She does. She keeps you up to date on the talking.
Just all the stuff.
I'm talkless.
Yeah. So I'm getting there. I'm just going to take a look. Feel like we're finding some balance. You can see that we need, the big tree needs some branches. This big one looks like a toothpick.
It's like it just was like, no, I'm going to be the tall, slender one. Really reaching. All right, now you're... Everyone loves you sharing the truth of your heart.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that.
Ooh, purple hearts. I like those. That's purple.
I really appreciate the support, guys. I seriously do. My hyper focus on branching aside, it's a big deal to me.
It requires focus to not fork your branches.
I don't want my kids to ever feel some weird pressure to not be who they are because they're worried they're going to impact me online.
Well, then how are we going to scar them and make sure they have?
Oh no,
to
we've
spend
covered.
years in
No, we're
trauma?
fine. We're fine. We've scarred them. We've done a good job.
Okay.
We've done
Sure?
a good job. Oh, I'm sure. So many
All
scars.
right. I mean,
So much therapy required in the future. So many.
All right.
So much. We've hit it. We've hit all the bigs, just like every parent on the planet.
Okay,
We're
all
like
right,
we work at it.
I want to do my part too. I got to be a good.
But, I mean, you guys can get what I'm saying. Like, I don't want my kids to have to like figure out their lives based on what I'm doing. Like, I want to teach art online, and that is my joy, and that is my great pleasure, and I love it. But you know, I don't want them to feel like they've got to hide or lie or be less than who they are because of that. You know, and not that they've ever been asked to, but you know, sometimes you feel like that. You like, you know, I don't want them to ever have that worry, and that would come from me if I'm not okay with everything. Then that's what would convey that feeling, right? Or I don't know. It's my guess.
There's some folks that were feeling a little lost in the current news cycle for art, and you might be able to help shed some light to give some folks some background.
Is this on the new
Sure.
documentary?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's really kind of lightweight. Who is Bill Alexander?
Bill Alexander is a gentleman from Germany who came here and started teaching art online, and he brought
Not online. There was no
not online. Sorry, on TV.
He was on public television.
On public television
Local
and in
public
video.
television. Yes, and he had a quite established.
I'll monologue and then finish some things because now you've asked a big question.
Well, they
Okay.
were just like, what? No.
So Bill Alexander came in, and Bill Alexander could do a painting in about 26 minutes in oils using a technique called alla prima. But since alla prima is a little bit weird, he called it wet into wet, and he created a thing called liquid white and this whole process. Now, at the
Magic
same
white.
time...
Magic white. Magic white.
Magic white. Sorry,
Not
magic
liquid
white.
Magic
At the same time, there was a gentleman named Bob Ross who was going through his own art journey, and among the many teachers that Bob studied with, one of the ones that he really wanted to study under as a pupil was Bill Alexander, because Bill was doing some really exciting stuff. And if you think about it, Bill and Bob kicked off the Highwaymen and all kinds of important art movements in the United States and around the world based on this idea that anybody could do alla prima. And they were like the first to really introduce a democratic art. In other words, you don't have to go to art school, you don't have to be educated a certain way. You can learn to paint, and anybody can do it. And it's not such a tiered kind of pretentious little journey, right? Not that pretension isn't okay, just they were the first ones to introduce that idea. So Bob studied with Bill and learned those techniques. There's a whole documentary about how Bob ended up on PBS with a family called the Kowalskis. And a lot of people are really mad at Bob, feeling like Bob took that technique from Bill. Bob always owned that that technique, that he learned that from Bill. He's never hid that.
It's about a couple hundred, like, it's so old, the technique.
Yeah, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. But he's never hid the fact that he was a student of Bill's, and he's never ever not acknowledged what a fantastic painter is. And I really think Bill's a fantastic painter. Yeah. You got to watch both shows. They have a very different vibe, just a very different vibe. Not right, not wrong, but a very different vibe.
And you believe also in democratic art, but you also believe in sort of like a shamanistic democratic art.
Right. And in that, the difference between me and like Bob and Bill would be that I'm not teaching you to paint like me in a technique that I developed. I'm teaching you to paint like you, learning a bunch of techniques and skills and concepts and ideas so that eventually you're just doing your own thing, which has worked pretty well so far. Yeah. You know, and you do follow along with me, but you're learning lots and lots of skills. That's why I don't always do everything the same way. So we all have something different that we're offering. You can still watch Bill Alexander and people that were in his art school on YouTube. You can watch Bob. I would watch the documentary before you watch Keep the Dream Alive. I'm not going to be watching the Keep the Dream Alive. I would watch that first to make up your own mind. You can also watch Garrett Jenkins, and you can also watch a lot of people that were on TV. They're still there. They're still there. So you can still watch and still support and still be there. I don't know. Anyways, that's the story.
I still kind of like watching Jaza.
I honestly think, and have had it much more even, like I've heard a bunch of stuff. Like we've been in a bunch of art material trade shows. We've heard a lot of stuff. You know, stuff has been brought up. And what I'll say is the documentary confirmed what I heard. It is not about bashing Bob, if that was you guys' worry.
No.
It was not about that. If you've ever wondered why his amazing, talented, fantastic son didn't take over, this might illuminate some of how that happened. And it might even illuminate for some of you who wondered, how did it go down between Bob and Bill, and why did that go so pear-shaped? And you may find that there's different reasons why that might have happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
And I do think it's important with our heroes to remember that they are people, and they are nuanced. And no villains are all villains, and no heroes are all heroes. You know. And I think we have to leave space for our heroes to be, you know, imperfect. Not terrible, not horrible, you know, but just imperfect.
Wow, this is really coming in.
I think this is really almost there.
So you hit it just at that. We're at 143. So you're just right there.
I think we're there. I think we've covered all the drama we could cover. I think we've gotten 15 extra minutes of drama in there.
Well, that's good. We needed some. You got to sign it.
I'm going to sign it. I want to thank everybody for your time today. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. If you're on YouTube, you have to wait till the live chat is over and the comment section opens to leave your comment, hashtag the Art Sherpa. We don't mind doing this globally, but you've got to be $35 away from us in shipping. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to post the rules and terms and conditions in the chat on Facebook and the chat on YouTube. Also, after the live show, and then on Facebook, you can enter anytime with the hashtag the Art Sherpa. That's totally fine. So we'll be giving one Facebook winner away, and when you got to be over the age of 18 and where it's allowed. And I'm not associated with YouTube or Facebook in any way on anything. They're not. Man, I don't know what they call us now. We're like a website. We're so unassociated. Just say disassociated in every way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of paint. Like you do.
Get a little bit on there.
Like somebody do. I'm using fluid acrylic. You can see how that is nicer to kind of go out. I'm going to sign it. Ta-da! I don't know why I'm ta-daing today, but we painted a lot of branches. We did the painting. 16 by 20. You can hang this on your wall and enjoy it. You can do it in a sitting, and you're going to learn a really important blending technique in there. You're going to learn a really important irregular shape technique in there. You're going to learn important branching processes. So it's worth doing if you're trying to teach yourself how to paint, to practice these techniques and things. Remember to pay attention to the opacity of your paint. If it's super thin, you might have to do 2 or 3 coats, but that doesn't mean that you can't paint. We're all using different art materials here, so we might get some slightly different results. You can check the description, the webpage, the event, if you want to know the materials that I was using. I don't know, is there anything else? Thank you for support. For everyone who is supporting us and who shows up and is at our shows and listens to us and comes, I really appreciate your time at the live events. I appreciate your time on the replays, because I know doing and painting is an investment on your part, not just my part. So I appreciate how we get to work together as a team. I want you to be good to yourself. Not only are heroes not perfect people, but we are not perfect people. We are all just figuring it out. So be good to yourself and forgiving and understanding. And with people out there in the world within reason, villains are villains, and that's a different thing. But just for regular people just trying to get through the day, they're just trying to figure it out too. So be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.